Welcome to another wonderful edition of It's a Sports Show. This our 169th edition. As always, beside me, Dolphin Paul, I'm Scott Cray. What's going on, DP? This is the show you've been waiting for, isn't it? I see football stuff in front of you. And people are like, what? Foot what? Red Sox just swept the Yankees. What?
Football.
This is our pre-NFL football draft, which will be the second half of our
We're going to have a little bit of draft talk, but we can't just have all football because, I mean, we had a big series this weekend, baseball series. But
we should have a pillow so that you can sleep on it while I talk
We're trying to say I'm a one-trick pony?
And then, well, I could tell you, the stories have been told. We won't go there. Hey, this show is hot. Ask me how hot.
How hot is this show, Scott?
This show is 4,544 hits hot on YouTube. You know that whole pizza incident at Fenway last week, and we put it to slow motion, super slow motion, 15% speed to That's Amore, which gave it a little kick, and put that up on YouTube on Wednesday. Today is Tuesday evening, and we've had 4,544 hits. That much closer to our 100,000th hit that we are shooting for.
We've made it! We're big!
Looks like we made it! Yeah.
I got you, big.
And of course, that opening, a lot of people looking up the Red Sox pizza, which, by the way, you see the graphic up there. Thank you, Mitch. IASS pizza is your keyword on YouTube to look this up. It is pretty funny. Even if you've seen the incident already, whether it be on live TV or on YouTube, you punch in IASS pizza. I also discovered Red Sox pizza works too. People are making comments. We're getting we have a 4.5-star rating, and I'm telling you, 100,000 is not far away.
Well, it's a great clip. It is a very good clip, and the production staff here at It's a Sports Show, fantastic studios, did a great job in putting that together with the slow-mo and showing the pizza a couple different ways. I actually found out the story about that. Remember when we said last week, and I don't know if you know this, that the guy threw the pizza at the fan?
Yeah.
Well, those two guys were having some type of altercation.
Really?
Yeah, somebody told me that that came about, that he asked him where he got the pizza or something. Because remember we said, why is he throwing it? It looks like he's throwing it at the fan and not the opposing player.
Right, because if you look, a lot of people saying he was throwing at the player. If you look, he's clearly, his body is facing that fan.
They had some type of altercation where he said, where'd you get that whole pizza or something? And I guess it was miscommunication. The guy thought he said something else. So when he got the thing with into the interference with the player,
he had his chance.
He threw the pizza. So it's big, but it's
Does
one of those
open
things.
up food fights across America now at ballparks? And this can be expanded to football, basketball, hockey.
Well, that's the scary thing about YouTube is pretty much if two professional people like us can get on YouTube, anybody can get on YouTube, and it opens up all kinds of avenues for people who want, to get their 15 minutes of fame or be shown on YouTube. I mean, I don't want to drift off, but we've seen the girls.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The girls beating up other girls in school, and that unfortunate stuff, and being on YouTube. So.
Well, I think eventually what you're going to find is something like YouTube is going to get a little more professional at some point. They're not going to take away from what they do, but there'll be some sort of YouTube Pro where you can, and we'll be there. We'll be there. Believe me, you.
Which side of the circle of trust are we on?
We could fall on both, actually.
What we're going to do, let's get to sports, I think. What we're going to do is talk some baseball.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little football here in the second half of our show.
Can't wait.
I know you're not a football junkie like me, but for the football junkies out there, and you know who I'm talking about, you know who you are.
I like football during
Saturday
the football season.
is a great day. We're going down to. I don't want to announce. Can we announce? Can we say where we're going?
Yeah, what the heck?
Well, we're going down to the new Twin River.
Right.
That's where my boys.
Which I hear is the biggest thing since.
They remodeled it. It's unbelievable.
Ice
I've thrown them a ton of money. They should name a brick after me. But besides that. The Scores are going to be there in the Comedy Club, which I'll be performing a week from Wednesday, May 2nd.
It's like super promo.
It's unbelievable. Segue.
Right.
No, but they have it. In all honesty, their draft show is great. The guys from the Score are there. It's free. They have these mock representatives from each team.
Yep.
It usually gets packed, and they go through the draft a little bit, at least close to the first round.
Now,
it's just a good time.
You've played a couple of roles in this draft.
I've been
what
the
are you
commissioner.
doing this year?
I've been the commissioner so far this year. I'm just a non-looker, which is fine.
Not even a Miami GM.
No, but you know what? Miami GM's fine. I let somebody else do that, but I just bring my book. I observe everything. It's a great time.
Sounds like a
But
plan.
should we get out of our brooms because Yankees are woo? Where's Jen? Where is she? She's
That
not
was
here.
a bit, yeah. You know what? She called. She was in Florida
Sick.
for the week. She called me today. She just came back from Florida to find out what her schedule was for the week, and I forgot to bust her female
I thought you
chops
said I
on
fired
this.
her.
No, I didn't fire her.
Oh, okay.
That'd be a bad thing. Fire someone after they just came back from Florida?
That's true.
Disney? I think people should be fired after going to Disney. But
Well,
that's
what's the lowdown on baseball, Scott?
As you look so happy beyond happy. Look, that's a face only a mama
Give
can
me
like.
the lowdown
I'm not
on the
even sure
Boston
your
Red
mama
Sox.
likes that face either. Well, the big thing, of course, the Yankees. A lot of people, they know the Yankees took a 3-game sweep over the Red Sox took a 3-game sweep over the Yankees this past weekend. The Red Sox went into it semi-hot. They went into it with a 2-game winning streak. So they faced Toronto yesterday on a 5-game winning streak. So it was more than just this, Yankee thing. Of course, this means a lot. But hey, look, it feels great when the Yankees can come into town and we could blow them away and give them the sweep, which hasn't happened in an eternity. Just keep things in perspective, folks. This Yankee team was quite depleted, okay? Crappy pitching staff. I mean, we'll get to the 4 home runs in a row in a second, but the fact of the matter is you got to keep things in perspective. Does it matter? Yes. Does it feel great? Yes. Is this the same Yankee team you're going to face when we go back to New York in a week? Of course not, because we already have, the Yankees have players. Ching-Ming Wang is coming back tonight to start for them. So, yes, the 3-game sweep feels good, sounds good, looks great in the standings, but keep things in perspective. The Red Sox, being as good as they are, should have at least taken 2 out of 3 out of these Yankees. So they kind of did what they were supposed to.
Well, I would agree, but I think the long-term question for the Yankees is the pitching staff. We talked about it all year. This was funny watching this series because this was kind of a reverse from a few years ago.
Yeah.
The Sox having some hitting, okay pitching, and this was kind of like opposite.
You're right, because, people are concentrating on the pitchers that are hurt. Ching-Ming Wang's been hurt. He's coming back. Musina is still on the DL, but should be coming back soon. But you're right, even with those guys coming back,
Well, the middle relief
old.
is terrible. He used, they've used Andy Pettitte twice in relief.
Yep.
What is that? I mean, Kyle Farnsworth wasn't even in this series.
You're right.
What does that say about Joe Torre's confidence in the bullpen?
Right.
Not much. And they're bringing up the kid from the minor leagues.
Who they say, by the way.
Whose name eludes me right now, but he was supposed to not come up until the middle of the year, and they're bringing him up now. Is this an act of desperation? Maybe. Maybe Joe Torre's saying, hey,
It absolutely is, because I heard it on sports radio this morning. I couldn't agree more. The Yankees are not bringing this guy up because he's ready. The Yankees are bringing this guy up because they need him. They're desperate for somebody. They put 2 no-names in against the Red Sox over the weekend, threw them into the fire, and we all saw how that worked out. Not so well. So they're giving this new guy a whirl. He's supposed to be good, and you're right. I can't believe I can't think of his name either. But fact of the matter is, they're hurting. Even when they get guys back, Andy Pettitte, like you're saying, out of the bullpen. I believe there was a stat going into this Red Sox series, this was prior to the Red Sox series, that the middle relief, the bullpen, has pitched 100 innings already. What that means is they'd be basically setting records on this pace. So starting pitching is not there, and it's hurting that mid-relief. How about their esteemed closer without a save yet this deep into the season?
Mariano Rivera. Now, a lot of Yankee
Blew one
fans
against the Red Sox.
have loyalty to him as well. They should. He's one of the greatest closers of all time. But, last year he suffered in spring and turned it around, so it remains to be seen. But he's kind of showing his age a little bit. I mean, look at the other side of the coin, Papelbon. You tell me you're not comfortable when Papelbon goes in the game and he throws 98 miles an hour?
A little too comfortable. We'll talk about that, but I have some concerns about Papelbon and just the way he throws and what I've seen around the league the last 5 years. We kind of dressed on it a little bit last week. I guess we'll get to it. The guy throws heat, and it goes right along with what you're saying. When he comes in, you don't even expect a runner to come on, even if it's for a 4-out save, which he's had to do a couple of times. I'm just concerned because, B.J. Ryan for Toronto, we mentioned him a couple of weeks ago, threw heat last year and was untouchable. One of the best relievers in baseball last year. Just got moved from the 15-day DL to the 60-day DL now. Toronto's going to be okay. They have a guy that can fill that role, so they'll be fine. But the fact of the matter is, player throws heat, next year he's out. Eric Gagne, we know what he did for the Dodgers a few years back. The guy's only thrown in like 16 games the last 2.5 years. Yesterday, got a hip flexor situation. Now he's going to be out. I don't know if he's going on the DL or not. It just concerns me. This guy is so good that it makes someone like Rivera, who you say is one of the best relievers of all time, and I'll say is the best reliever of all time of all of Major League Baseball. I don't think there was anybody better. I don't know how he did it, because he did the same thing. He threw heat. I don't know how he did it and how this current day reliever
I'll tell you how there's a big difference last year and this year. Last year, you had to dread the middle relief.
Right.
You couldn't wait to get the bullpen. This year, guys like Okajima, I mean, that middle relief is pitching pretty well. Also, let's mention one thing. The Yankees starters have not gone very far into their starts, where, by opposite, I believe, I could be misspeaking here, but I think the Red Sox are not at the top as far as starters with long innings. They got to be very near the top.
No, you're right on the money.
That's how. Oh, thank you.
How do you like them apples?
Hey, listen, so much for that one-trick pony thing. No, but the Red Sox, their starters are pitching very well. And
yes.
We've said this for a couple of years here now on the show. I'll take pitching any time.
Right.
If they can keep getting these timely hits from the bottom of the order, and maybe get the Coco Crisps going, and get the Pedroias to get a hit here and there. Mike Lowell's having a good early start to the season. J.D. Drew, knock on wood. So far, so good. Ortiz is going to come around. Manny, we don't have to worry about.
Well, Francona mentioned that you need that bottom of the lineup to perform well, because that allows the entire lineup from 1 through 9 to at least be balanced. And you're right. You mentioned Lowell, and I'm glad you did. I had said a few weeks ago, I don't understand why Lowell is not in that 6th spot. He finally is. That 7-8 spot is not where he belongs. He's a much better player than that, especially when you have people like Crisp and or Pena, and then you have, sort of that, but using Veritek in that 6th spot is foolish. Lowe belongs there, and I'm glad he's there. And now that he is there, I think that's why he's performing much better. Yeah. It's amazing when guys are in the right spot that they feel they should be in the lineup, how much better they perform.
I mean, they're 12-6 right now.
Yep, second best record in all of baseball.
And we're kind of talking about the Yankees, but the Red Sox play Baltimore, I guess, is it tomorrow, Wednesday?
Yeah, which Baltimore has been on fire.
And we're already looking forward to the Yankee series this weekend, so it's kind of a misguided. But I mean, that's the exciting part. Is Red Sox Yankees, and a lot of people question. There was an interesting argument on sports radio coming into the studio about whether there was a letdown on Monday night or not. And one guy,
not at all.
Basically,
not on our end, not on the Red Sox end. A letdown because of the sweep, you mean?
Yeah.
As far
losing
as
to Toronto.
Oh, well, yes.
Letdown.
Yes. Well, Marabelli, who caught yesterday, that first game against Toronto, said that there was a real lack of energy. I think that so much energy is expounded on the Yankees. I mean, as a fan, I don't know about you, but after that Sunday night game, I was tired for crying out loud.
I would take that. Now, the other point of the argument was, did it directly affect the loss? No, but I think it had something to do with it. I just think, when the Red Sox when the Yankees are in town, it's a whole different ball game.
You
the
can
energy
be tired, and your performance affects that.
I mean, I don't think you physically, I mean, what I'm trying to say is mentally you try not to, but it's just human nature that when you're at a high level, then you go down to the next level. I mean, just think about it. You go to the Yankee series in the weekend. You're at Fenway. Bam, you're going. It's the Yankees. Daisuke's on the mound. You got 3 million reporters. And now you got to play to the Toronto Blue Jays. Hey, they're not the same as the Yankees.
No, they're
I don't care if the Yankees.
And coming in with 5 losses in a row, you had just the opposite. You had the Red Sox 5 games in a row winning coming into that series, and Toronto 5 games in a row losing. Toronto's got a good lineup. They're not going to be as bad as they've shown. Baltimore has kind of turned it around so far this year. At one point, I think they had won 5 in a row. They're at 11-8 now, and I'm not going to spend more than a couple of seconds on this because our show is very time-based. What we say now is being said again 4 or 5 days from now because of the fact that we're on once a week. But as of right this moment, the Yankees are a half game out of last place to Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay were to beat them tonight, because they're playing each other, the Yankees would be in last place. And I know it means nothing. I know you're going to say.
But we love it as Red Sox fans.
Man, The Yankees
How about
in
this?
the basement.
How about this? Let me bring up another point.
Better than Cool Whip.
And another guy. Another guy we should talk about. Where would the Yankees be without A-Rod?
Oh,
I mean, they'd definitely be staring up. There's no question. I mean, have you seen a more amazing and productive month by a baseball player than...
Did you see the stats they threw up on Sunday on ESPN? They said, you know, it's just playing numbers at this point. But
if they were stretched out.
Oh, if he continued this, he'd end up with like 300 RBIs and some bazillion homers. He's just absolutely fastest player to hit this many home runs at this point in the year, and he's already tied Albert Pujols for most home runs in April, and still has a good week to go yet. He's been amazing.
He's absolutely on fire. He's carrying the Yankees on their back.
Well, that's the thing, though. He is and he isn't, because they're losing. They've lost 4 in a row now.
Right.
And it's ironic because things have turned around, and granted, this is only temporary, but last year, right, where was A-Rod when the Yankees needed him most, right? That's what Yankee fans said. Now this year, where are the Yankees when A-Rod needs their support? You know, they're putting up 8 runs in a game and they're still losing.
Very good.
You know, so yeah, I mean, eventually, hey, you know what we'll hope for? A-Rod cools down and the Yankees heat up a hair, but not much, and the Yankees still not win games. It's their pitching, because the Yankees are putting up runs. When you put up 8 runs in a game, you expect to win the game.
That lineup is unbelievable, so it remains to be seen if they can
and that's without Matsui.
If they can mash their way through the season.
Right.
Now, if they get all the guys back, it should help with Matsui, you know, obviously Messina, Ching-Ming Wang, and so forth. But I'll tell you, right now, it's a little bit scary. And, you know, the other, the pessimistic Red Sox fan will say the Red Sox starters are unbelievably hot.
Yes.
Beckett started hot last year. He's pretty hot this year. Dice-K's pitching well. He finally got a win.
Schilling did the same thing.
Schilling, you know, and Wakey finally had a little bit of an off day, but, you know, I mean, we know we're going to get that with Wakey. So, I mean, it remains to be seen again. What would be a show without me saying it's a long season? Dang.
Hey, this season is that much shorter
obviously,
right
we'll keep you updated.
So the Red Sox, you know, taking some games up on the Yankees right now. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that I think everybody expects the Yankees to start winning some games eventually and start shooting up those standings. I think they're still the only team to really be concerned with in the AL East. And, you know, everybody says, well, the Red Sox are set up better for a playoff team. That's fine, but you still have to make the playoffs. And in this day and age, there's only one wild card spot, so you almost have to win your division because you obviously have other teams playing well. Minnesota right now at 11-8 is playing awfully well. The Chicago White Sox aren't the same team of the last year or two, but I think they'll come around still. And then in the West, you know, Oakland and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim all doing their thing, and that was without Vladimir Guerrero too, so you know they're going to start winning some games. So, you know, it'll all come around, it'll all even out, and it'll be a Red Sox-Yankees fight again. I think that going to New York is going to have just as much energy as this past series did, opening up at Fenway. But then beyond that, I think it's always going to be fun and exciting, but I don't think you're going to see as much of a letdown after the series is over like you did this past series. Play a series at each park, and then from there, I hate to say it's a long season, but it's a long competition between the two of them.
Anytime you play the Yankees, it's going to be a heated rivalry. It's going to be an interesting weekend, especially depending on what the Yankees do next few games the Sox do. I mean, if the Sox put a little more distance between them and the Yankees in the next series, you know, if the Sox could beat Baltimore and get up another game or two on the Yanks, I mean, this series, you know, I don't care if you have the Yankees or not. If they're down 7 games in April, you know, that's a little bit of ground to make up. I know, again, it's very early, but, you know,
these games count just as much as the ones due in September.
This might be foreign to the Yankees to be down, and you want to talk about, you know, getting up to it's not just the Red Sox. I mean, you know, they'll be behind Tampa. You know, they'll be behind Toronto, of course, and Baltimore.
They'll kick back up, though. They'll kick back up.
So you think they're going to come back and challenge the Sox for second place?
Guaranteed. There's no way that the Yankees don't with the hitting they have. Again, they're putting up 6, 7, 8 runs a game without an issue. They've put up on average over 7 runs a game in the last 5 games. So how do you lose when you put up that many runs? Their pitching just has to slightly come around. Now, it kind of cracks me up when people talk about Messina being old. Who else is old? Oh, Pettit being old. Well, the Red Sox don't have spring chickens either. Wakefield, Schilling, all just as old. So it can go either way. for both teams, it should be interesting to see what happens when we get into August, those dog hot days, and these guys are pushing in their 40s. Will they break down? That
I don't think Wakefield's that big a thing because of knuckleball. Schilling's more
eventually,
of an issue.
Though, he's got.
Well, eventually he has to go,
50,
but
you know?
I mean, he's still pitching. You know, I mean, you haven't really seen any effects because he throws knuckleball.
Right.
Now with Schilling, you know, it's probably much more of a long grind for him.
Now it's interesting because knowing the Yankees, the way we all do is in Red Sox Nation, you know that the Yankees will not sit around and let themselves get too far down. They're bringing this young stud up from the minors, and they're going to try him out. Maybe he'll work, maybe he won't. But you know they're going to try to make some sort of moves either before or at the trading deadline at some point. And the big talk right now is people seem to think in the underground that people from New York are making their travels to Texas to go look at the Rocket and see if he'd be interested in a little more money to start a little sooner than expected. That's the big question now. Will the Rocket come to New York if New York throws enough dough out there to do that, basically? So it remains to be seen, but don't be surprised if you hear that announcement anytime soon. Who knows?
You want me to comment now?
If you like.
Screw the Rocket. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Well, if
I
he
heard
would
somebody
come
on
into
sports radio say the same thing, and I couldn't agree with him more. I'm sick and tired of this Roger Clemens.
He's a big deal.
A big deal. The guy's 42, 43 years old, and every
look what
year,
he's doing
every
still.
year we gotta wait till June for him to make up his mind. He's riding around in a golf cart eating hot dogs, and now we're supposed to wait until June or July to give this guy $20 million.
And when he
for
comes
6
in,
months.
he's
Screw
still
Roger.
got a 2.5
I'm sick of
ERA.
hearing
You
about
wouldn't want
Roger.
him playing for the Red Sox?
No, Red Sox have a nice little team right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want him coming in.
Let's keep
Stay home and
Julian.
retire.
Let's keep Julian freaking Tavares instead of bringing in Roger Clemens. That makes a lot of sense.
Let's pay old man, fat man Clemens to come in June, $20 million a pitch for 6 months.
A sub-3 ERA.
He's gonna stay
We don't
in
want
Houston.
that. We don't want that.
A sub-3 ERA where? Have you seen him pitch softball in the park right now?
He's done it the last 2 years
So
despite
what?
pitching his
It's
second half.
ridiculous.
That's
Every
when
year
you
we're
need
going to
him.
listen to Roger Clemens. Oh, I might pitch in June. I don't know what team. We're going to coddle this guy until he's 60 years old.
If
I was a Red Sox,
at
I'd
what
say-
he's pitching at, yes. Why
Oh, come
you
on.
coddle A-Rod, you coddle
Roger
Manny,
Clemens-
you coddle Pedro.
Roger Clemens been there, done that.
you
He's
coddled
had an
Roger
era in
Clemens
Boston.
when he was here, for crying out loud.
Yeah, when he was 23 years old and he was breaking strikeout records.
And
now
he's
when he's
still
42,
pitching just as good now as he was when he was
he's
23.
pitching squat.
So you
That's
hope
the
he
word.
goes to the
That's the
Yankees.
words of the day. Screw Roger. No, I don't care if he goes to the Yankees. Honestly, I'd rather have him not go to the Yankees, but I'm just sick of hearing about it.
I would hope you'd rather him not go to the Yankees, because
I'm just sick of hearing about it. Every year now, we're gonna have these old farts pitching in June.
It's only going to happen for another year or two.
Come on.
Trust me.
Oh, another year or two, please. We got another year or two of Roger.
Would you rather have Roger Clemens right in the spring and have him break down in August, or would you rather have him come on in June or July and go right through September with driving
I'd rather
force
have
like
him in the
he
spring
does,
and be part of the team.
until
No,
August when
let-
he breaks down?
Let's put him in a cryogenic freezer and wait until September to pitch a couple innings for us.
I should have known when you looked at me dead fast when I was done talking. And
Well,
you
you know
said,
what? Because
"Can
I
make my
forgot
comment
about
now?"
that. I forgot about that, and you struck a nerve. I told you last
No.
year I was sick of hearing about it, and this year here we are
3
again.
times more.
I mean, this is unbelievable.
I got to tell you, it's not the last time you're going
Let's
to
get
hear
to some
the word
football.
rocket
Screw
come out of my
Roger.
mouth.
Roger, stay home, retire. Unbelievable.
I hope he's not watching YouTube. He's going to come
listen.
down here and throw a fastball at
Well,
your
I
head.
mean, I know he has friends
Oh,
in
and
Rhode
by the
Island,
way,
but you know
what
what?
is he, 43, 44? He could still hit you with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball.
He absolutely could, but I don't want him on the Red Sox.
All right, so we're going to talk Patriots now. How much time do we have left, Mitch?
About 5 minutes.
How can we talk football 5 minutes?
Perfect ratio.
I demand a new show.
You went on a hissy fit for 5 minutes. You would have had 10 minutes.
Oh,
Talk about your stinking draft. The Patriots have what, the 24th pick?
They have the 24th and 28th. They're the only team in the NFL with the 2 first-round picks.
Where are the Dolphins in all this?
The Dolphins have the number 9 pick. Well, I didn't supply you with Dolphin information because it's all up here.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, so first Patriots, 24th pick. Who are they hoping for compared to what do they need? And is it the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing. I think because if they had not made all these moves in the offseason that we talked about with all these wide receivers, this is a good wide receiver draft. A lot of good quality wide receivers that they could get at 24 or 28 or both or whatever they wanted it to do. But they loaded up on wide receivers, so I don't think you obviously, they signed every wide receiver that could breathe.
And I'm going to stop you there for a sec. Why, knowing that this draft is loaded with wide receivers, did they make those moves? Do they not have faith in the wide receivers that are out there?
Well,
in the draft?
Well, because guys in the draft are rookies.
Right.
And they drafted Chad Jackson last year, who was supposed to be a savior. And not a savior. Everybody was waiting for it. It's a kid with a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But so far,
Hasn't
mentally,
panned through.
they're saying this is going to be a big year for him, whether he gets it or not. So you bring in guys like a Dante Stallworth, who supposedly knows the system, is a veteran. Tom Brady's a veteran. This is a veteran team. I think that's why they're not going heavy after these receivers because, we've talked about this before. These receivers all sound great on paper, but they're rookies.
Right.
And I'm very hesitant because I can go back and see a lot of receiver drafts where a lot of guys have not panned out. And, I can name a whole bunch. The Rod Gardners of the world, Freddie Mitchell, guys who, David Terrell was a big guy that a lot of Patriot fans wanted over Richard Seymour. How would that look now?
Yeah.
Terrell's out of the league. So
is that a position thing? Is wide receiver more so than any other position something that can possibly fail or is almost doomed to fail?
Well, I think wide receiver is a position where, you have to be polished and know what you're doing.
Right.
Versus a guy who maybe can just bull rush.
Yep.
I mean, not that wide receiver, you've got to run routes, you've got to recognize coverages and stuff like that. So it's a little more cerebral as far as the playbook, and I don't mean to say that linemen are dumb because they have to be very intelligent. So they loaded up for the sake of time because we don't have a lot of it. They loaded up on wide receiver. I think they're looking maybe inside linebacker, because obviously Teddy Bruschi, their linebackers are roll with Vrabel.
Yep.
Cornerback and safety. I think you'll see some in the defensive backfield. Now, we're not going to go through the whole list. Everybody out there knows them. I mean, they're talking about maybe Damian Hughes. LaRon Landry's a big safety who will go in the top 5 or 6. They could probably use a safety with, what's his name, Rodney Harrison getting up there in age. So I think linebacker, cornerback, but
that's what they need.
we thought last year
Yep.
that's what they needed, and they went for Lawrence Maroney, which turned out to be a pretty smart pick because
worked.
Corey Dillon's retired.
Right.
He's out of the league, so smart pick on the New England spot. So who knows what they're up to. Now, here's the other thing that happens in these drafts. You get to 24.
Best
Now the
available.
Patriots, well, that's the thing. How you rate the players. Do you take a cornerback that you might need, or do you take, for instance, I'm going to say wide receiver. This is not going to happen unless it was Calvin Johnson dropped at 24th, which is impossible. You take a cornerback you need, or you take the best player available. Most teams or most philosophers of the draft say to take the best player available at that point. The Patriots don't have a lot of holes to fill, but a couple names being thrown around. Paul Posluski, the outside linebacker from Penn State. Patrick Willis, a good inside linebacker from Mississippi State, I believe. Is one of the top inside linebackers. So I think they're going to look linebacker, cornerback, safety in that area there. But again, one thing I've always said about the draft, we don't know how teams rank players.
Right.
We can't go in there. We
They're
have an
doing
idea.
their thing on the inside.
Right. I mean, and the Patriots have done a good job with bringing in players to fit their system. So they might talk to a coach, for instance, Fresno State, where they got Logan Mankins, say, hey, what do you go? Oh, I got this cornerback. They might take value and not pay the big bucks, or maybe draft out and get more picks. So sometimes you can play it smart that way.
Well, you talk about big bucks. For those who don't pay much attention to the NFL draft, who's got the number 1 pick, and who is it going to be?
Well, the Oakland Raiders have the number 1 pick, and there's big talk that could be Jamarcus Russell, the big quarterback. For anybody watching the draft, the big interesting thing here in the first 10, 12 picks is going to be the wild card Brady Quinn.
Yep.
Last year we had Matt Leinart. This year, it could be Jamarcus Russell, too, because the Raiders love to throw the ball deep. There's even talk about them maybe doing something with Miami to get Culpepper, so they could take Calvin Johnson, the wide
30 seconds, baby.
the wide receiver from Georgia
You shouldn't
Tech,
have went on
who's
your
the number
tangent.
1 player of the draft, and I'm just hoping the Dolphins get Brady Quinn, and we have no more.
Real quick, can
Time to
Brady
talk
Quinn
about
make a difference on any team that he gets picked by?
Maybe not an immediate difference, but he was trained in a pro-style offense, so many people think he is more game-ready than Jamarcus Russell. I promise you, Draft Junkies, next week we'll have a review of the draft and talk some football.
It's a sports show at yahoo.com. Keep those emails coming. And YouTube, keyword IASS. If you want to see the pizza, it's a goal. 100,000 hits. IASS pizza is what you do. Thanks for watching.